Good evening and welcome to the show. The topic tonight is the first annual Student Leadership Reunion, the 30-year reunion, that is to be held in Nashville in the month of February. And my first guest tonight to talk about the movement and some of the activities associated with that movement is Professor Nelson Wilson, a Vice President for Administrative Affairs at American Baptist College. And let me welcome you to the show, Professor Wilson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haney, for having me here and giving us the opportunity to speak briefly about this particular event that we will be having, which is the first annual Student Leadership Conference and 30th Anniversary Sit-In Reunion. As you know, February the 22nd through the 24th here in Nashville will be a historical day, and that we will be bringing home to Nashville some of the national leaders who were students here in the 1960s and participated.
And so most of these people participated in the movement in 1960 in Nashville here?
Yes, they did. In fact, we will be bringing back most of the students that were students here, for example, at American Baptist College, students here that were involved in the sit-in movements that were students at Fisk University, as well as Tennessee State University. So all of these individuals coming back did participate, and we will have several national leaders who will be coming in to assist us in this particular event that we will be having. And the purpose is to bring college and university students together so that they can fellowship and network and identify some of the problems which threaten the future today.
Now, what were some of the years that we're dealing with in terms of these persons being active in the movement in Nashville here?
We're looking at specifically the early 1960s. We're looking at 60, 61, 62 on up through those years, where most of the sit-ins were taking place here in Nashville as well as throughout the South. You know,
Professor Wilson, so many of our young people don't know exactly what the sit-in movement was all about. Before we talk about the participants, and of course most of these persons were active in the sit-in movements, why don't you give us some information in reference to just an overview of what the sit-ins were all about?
Well, the sit-in movement specifically were actually to help all individuals, black and white, to really, in a sense, achieve equality in terms of services here in the Nashville community as well as nationwide. As you know, during that time, Dr. Haney, it was a very separated and segregated society. Students as well as other local community individuals were not allowed access to certain facilities here in the Nashville area as well as throughout the South. And students here felt that they needed to do something about it at that particular time, and so they organized students at American Baptist College, students at Tennessee State University, Fisk University, and they started to sitting in downtown in some of the various stores to bring about some of the changes as well as the benefits that we enjoy today as a result of the sit-ins.
And so some of the participants of those early movements, right, will be here in February to celebrate this reunion.
Yes, they will. And some of the people that will be coming here to spend some time with us, for example, will be Andrew Young, the Honorable Mayor Andrew Young, Jane Lawson, who was a student at Vanderbilt University during that time. We will have Diane Nash back, Honorable John Lewis, who is a congressman from Atlanta, Georgia. We will have Mitch Rollins, C.T. Vivian, who is also a leader in the movement and was a leader in the movement at that time and still is making a national impact. Prathia Wynn Hall will be coming in, Candy and Guy Carawan, and most of the people that we're speaking of at this time, Dr. Haney, were involved here in Nashville with the exception of the two national leaders that I've mentioned. Congressman Walter Funtroyd will be coming in. He has indicated that he would be coming to participate in this particular event. But there are so many people that to just call the roll and go down the list would just take up all of the time here on the show. But what we do want to emphasize to the Nashville community, what we do want to emphasize to all leaders that were involved and individuals who would like to know more about what the sit-ins really were about at that time, to come out February the 22nd through the 24th and be a part of this. Not only will we have national leaders here of renown and our students who were a part of this event that did go on to make an impact on the nation, but we will have a multitude of activities that they can participate in.
Now, what are some of the activities during this time?
We will have 17 workshops that students can participate in, and it's going to be very interesting because each one of the workshops will be conducted by a national leader, a local expert, as well as a student who will be involved in that For example, one of the workshops that we will be dealing with at that time will be issues facing the black family. And we do know that we are in a crisis as it relates to that. Most of the research would indicate that we are really struggling in that area there. We're going to be looking at racism and its impact in the community as well as on the college campuses. We know that that's an area that we are still plagued with, the role of politics and social change, as well as about 14 other activities. We will also have a musical that students can participate in. We are inviting the community to come out and take a part of that. Guy and Candy Carroll will be coming back, as well as some of the freedom singers in the 60s will be here with us to participate in that. Also, we will have Tennessee State University's choir involved in that. I think the Fifth Jubilee Singers will also be participating in that. There will be also a segment that will deal with storytelling, where you can really sit around for the first time and get a real feel for some of the kind of experiences that some of these leaders experienced and what they were willing to sacrifice to bring about the kind of change that we actually did witness from what happened during that time in the 60s. So it's going to be a very historical occasion. It's the first time that an event of this nature and magnitude of a national event going to take place here in Nashville.
Very good. And so not only is it a reunion, but it's also an attempt to try to lay the groundwork for perhaps some solutions to some of the problems that we're faced now in the same arena. Different civil rights. On the one hand, you're talking about political rights, and on the other hand, you're perhaps talking about economic and social rights dealing with this reunion. And of course, let me thank you, Professor Wilson, for giving us that very, very important information in reference to this very, very important conference that will be held during the month of February. And we'll be back with you with 2 additional guests following this commercial break.